ve şiddet tutkunu değiliz.
Biz de zindanla da korkutamazsın.
Your country is in big trouble.
Teslim olmanın sınırı yok.
France reaffirms its support for Syria's Kurdish population, calling for their full inclusion in any future political settlement following the fall of the Assad regime. Refugees in northern Iraq's Makhmur camp face critical food and medicine shortages under a long embargo imposed by the Iraqi federal government. The United States and Iran are preparing for a new round of indirect nuclear negotiations amid heightened regional tensions. And from Sudan to Syria, women unite in Iraqi Kurdistan's Sulaymaniyah to fight patriarchy, war, and ecological collapse. Learn more with Media News. France has reaffirmed its support for Syria's Kurdish population, calling for their full inclusion in any future political settlement following the fall of the Assad regime. In an official response dated the 2nd of June, French Foreign Minister Barrot replied to a letter from Senator Savoldelli, who had raised concerns over continued attacks on Kurdish regions by Turkish forces and their allies. Barrot stated that the Kurds must be able to fully participate in reclaiming their nation and emphasized the importance of recognizing their citizenship and cultural rights. He also welcomed the 10th of March agreement between the Syrian Democratic Forces and Damascus as a positive first step towards unifying the country. France, he added, is in ongoing dialogue with SDF commander Mazloum Abdi and has initiated mediation between Kurdish factions and with Turkey to help de-escalate regional tensions. Barrot's statement marks one of the strongest expressions of French support for the Kurds in recent years, signalling Paris's commitment to both Kurdish rights and long-term regional stability. Senator Savoldelli had previously described Rojava's democratic model as a blueprint for Syria's reconstruction and warned that failure to support it could lead to another humanitarian catastrophe. The humanitarian situation at the Makhmur refugee camp in northern Iraq has sharply deteriorated following a 2-month embargo imposed by the Iraqi federal government. Filiz Budak, co-chair of the Makhmur People's Council, told Media News that the 12,000 residents now face severe shortages of medical supplies and basic necessities, with surrounding roads blocked and movement in and out of the camp tightly restricted since the 10th of April. Budak said the camp's only hospital is overwhelmed, and residents are being denied access to hospitals and workplaces in Iraqi cities due to expired passports, documents that the government has failed to renew since 2023. A delegation from the camp who travelled to Baghdad in May to raise the issue with the Justice Ministry were detained on their return and remain in custody, Budak confirmed. Makhmur camp was established in the 1990s by Kurdish refugees fleeing Turkish military operations. Movement has also been blocked from the camp into the Kurdistan region for over 6 years, worsening isolation. Budak appealed to the United Nations and the international community to take urgent action, warning, "We are struggling to survive. This siege must end." The United States and Iran are preparing for a new round of indirect nuclear negotiations, hosted in Oman on the 15th of June. It marks the 6th attempt since April to reach a breakthrough on Iran's uranium enrichment program, amid heightened regional tensions and serious economic stakes for both sides. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Esmail Baghai confirmed the meeting, with US President Donald Trump having already discussed a proposed framework with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The US continues to demand a full halt to Iran's uranium enrichment activities, while Tehran maintains that enrichment is its sovereign right. Although Iran insists it is not pursuing nuclear weapons, the country now possesses enough uranium enriched to 60% to potentially produce 4 nuclear bombs, according to UN nuclear watchdogs. Sanctions have crippled Iran's economy, while US industries stand to gain billions if restrictions are lifted. Experts estimate the lifting of sanctions could increase Iran's GDP from $600 billion to $1 trillion by 2040 and generate up to $200 billion thousand jobs in the US. Oman will mediate the talks. However, failure may revive Trump's past military threats or prompt Israeli strikes, risks both sides are under pressure to avoid. Over 250 women from across the Middle East and North Africa gathered in Sulaymaniyah, in the Kurdistan region of Iraq, in mid-May to form a powerful cross-border alliance for peace, women's autonomy, and ecological justice. Delegates from 17 countries, including Iran, Sudan, Lebanon, and Turkey, took part in the first Congress of the Regional Democratic Women's Coalition, known as NADA. The Congress, held under the slogan "Towards a Democratic Society Based on the Women's Revolution," focused on resisting patriarchy, authoritarianism, war, and state violence. Abir Hassaf, a delegate from the Women's Council of North and East Syria, described the gathering as a historic moment for collective resistance, warning that women are bearing the brunt of escalating violence across the region. She called for transnational strategies to build grassroots alternatives to state-led oppression and ecological collapse. Workshops explored how war, nationalism, and extractive economies jointly target both women's bodies and the environment. Kurdish leader Abdullah Öcalan's philosophy of democratic confederalism was cited as a guiding framework. Hassaf said, "We are moving from shared pain towards shared strength. Women across the region are rising, together." The event marked a significant milestone in the region's growing feminist movement and its call for radical democratic change.
Media News Daily Review.
Biz burada şiddet tutkunu değiliz. Biz de zindanla da korkutamazsın.
Your country is in big trouble.
Teslim olmanın sınırı yok.